This is the VOA Special English Development Report. Dye can bring a little color to life. Most clothing is colored with dyes. Modern manufactured dyes can be costly. Natural dyes from plant and animal products have been used since ancient times. So this week, we describe a natural way to dye wool. The advice comes from information written by Jenny Dean of the Intermediate Technology Development Group in Britain. This anti-poverty group is now called Practical Action. There are several methods to put dye onto material. The vat method, for example, can be used to dye wool with onion skins. For this example, use 100 grams of natural wool. The wool must be clean. Leave it overnight in water and liquid soap. Then wash it with clean, warm water. Gently squeeze out the extra water. A solution called a mordant is used in the dyeing process. A mordant helps fix the dye to the material. Traditionally, mordants were found in nature. Wood ash is one example. But chemical mordants, such as alum, are popular today. Alum is sold in many stores. It is often mixed with cream of tartar, a fine powder commonly used in cooking. Mix 8 grams of alum with 7 grams of cream of tartar in a small amount of hot water. Add the solution to a metal pan of cool water. Next, add the wool and place the mixture over heat. Slowly bring the liquid to 82 degrees Celsius. Heat the mixture for 45 minutes. After it cools, remove the wool and wash it. To prepare the dye solution, cover 30 grams of onion skins with water. Use only the dry brown outer skins. Boil the liquid until the onion skins lose their color, about 45 minutes. Remove the skins after the dye cools. Now it is time to dye the wool. Place the wool into the dye and heat the mixture. Bring it to a boil, then immediately reduce the heat to 82 degrees. Now heat the dye for about 45 minutes or until the wool is the desired color. Keep in mind that wet wool looks darker than it is. Once the dye cools, remove the wool and wash it. Now the wool is orange or yellow, or at least it should be. Internet users can get the full details at practicalaction.org. Again, the address is practicalaction.org, and enter the word dye, D-Y-E, in the search box. We will post a link to the site at voaspecialenglish.com. And that's the VOA Special English Development Report. This is the VOA Special English Development Report. More than 1.5 billion people around the world live without electricity. Finding better ways to bring light to the poor is the goal of researchers like David Irvin Halliday. In the late 1990s, the Canadian professor was working in Nepal when his return flight was cancelled. A delay gave him time to take a 14-day hiking trip in the Himalayas. As he tells it, one day he looked in the window of a school and noticed how dark it was. This is a common problem for millions of children around the world, and not just at school, but also at home. Many families use kerosene oil lamps. There are many problems with these lamps. They produce only a small amount of light. They are dangerous to breathe, and they are a big fire danger, causing many injuries and deaths each year. Kerosene costs less than other forms of lighting, but it is still costly in poor countries. Professor Irvin Halliday says many people spend well over $100 a year on the fuel. When he returned to Canada, he began researching ways to provide safe, clean, and affordable lighting. He began experimenting with light-emitting diodes, LEDs, at his laboratory at the University of Calgary in Alberta. As a professor of renewable energy, he already knew about the technology. Light-emitting diodes are small glass lamps that use much less electricity than traditional bulbs and last much longer. Professor Irvin Halliday used a 1-watt bright white LED made in Japan. He found it on the internet and connected it to a bicycle-powered generator. He remembers thinking it was so bright a child could read by the light of a single diode. In 2000, after much research and many experiments, he returned to Nepal to put the systems into homes. His Light Up the World Foundation has now equipped the homes of 25,000 people in 51 countries. He says the one-time cost of the system is less than $100. So 1 year of kerosene would pay for a solid-state lighting system. Now, his aim is to develop a lower-cost lighting system. In January, David Irvin Halliday left the University of Calgary. He has also decided to give up leadership in the Light Up the World Foundation to start a company in India. And that's the VOA Special English Development Report.
From VOA Learning English, this is the Technology Report in Special English. Every year, IBM chooses 5 new technologies that the company believes will change the world within the next 5 years. The list is called 5 in 5. IBM says it considers its own research and the new directions of society and business when identifying the technologies. This year, the list describes devices that will extend our 5 senses. Imagine looking for clothes online and touching your computer or smartphone to feel the cloth. IBM's Vice President of Innovation, Bernie Meyerson, says this technology could be available in the next 5 years. Touch is just one of the senses that technology will help to extend. IBM says smart machines will soon be able to listen to the environment and give us information about the sounds they hear. For example, Bernie Meyerson says an advanced speech recognition system will tell new parents why their baby is crying. Smart machines will also help identify medical conditions. If you sneeze on your computer or cell phone, the device will study the molecules that came out of your mouth. It will then tell you whether you need to see a doctor. Another prediction is that computers will be better able to not just look at images, but understand what they show and act on that information. Bernie Meyerson says IBM scientists are also developing a computer system that can examine and combine molecules to create the most popular flavors and smells. Mark Maloof is a computer scientist at Georgetown University. He says it will be exciting to see what young people will do with the mobile technology, networking, and computing power of tomorrow. For VOA Learning English, I'm Carolyn.
This is the VOA Special English Technology Report. Kane's Arcade is one of the latest videos to go viral on the internet. Since early April, the video has been viewed millions of times on Vimeo and YouTube. It tells the story of 9-year-old Kane Monroy in Los Angeles. He used cardboard boxes, scissors, tape, and other materials to build a game center in his father's used car parts store. Filmmaker Nervin Malik was the first to pay to play Kane's games. He is also responsible for the Kane's Arcade video. In the video, he explains how he met Kane. The filmmaker had to get a door handle for his 1996 Toyota Corolla. So he pulled into this used auto parts store and came across this elaborate cardboard arcade. He asked Kane how much it cost to play. He's like, for $1, you get 4 turns, but for $2, you get a fun pass. He asked Kane how many turns you get with a fun pass. He goes, 500 turns for a fun pass. So Mr. Malik got a fun pass and the idea for the video. Kane's Arcade has basketball and soccer, game tokens and tickets, and colorful bags of cotton candy. It even has one of those machines where you try to pick up a prize with a mechanical claw. Like at most arcades, the claw game is hard to win. But at $2 for a fun pass worth 500 plays, it's well worth the effort. Nervin Malik says his visit to Kane's Cardboard Arcade gave him much more than he expected. He told us, "I felt like a little kid again, and it was like he'd given me this tremendous, unexpected gift." In return, Mr. Malik gave Kane an unexpected gift too. He created a flash mob through Facebook. He set up a date and time and invited people to come and help him fill Kane's Arcade with customers. The event was also published on the Hidden LA and Reddit websites. The news spread quickly. Kane had 500 Facebook fans by the time the flash mob took place. More than 100 adults and children visited Kane's Arcade that day. Kane called it the best day of his life. Since then, he and his arcade have become famous, and so has Mr. Malik. In his words, "There's a reason I was driving a '96 Corolla, and it's looking like I might be able to get to make movies that I've been trying to make for a long time." Mr. Malik created a scholarship fund for Kane, and to help other creative kids, the Gold Hirsch Foundation has agreed to match every donation up to $250,000. For VOA Special English, I'm Carolyn Prasuti.